Welcome, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hopefully, there are some people who might have finished their NWEA testing. If you have Science Block E, by now you're probably done. NWEA. It's a lot of syllables there. But for everyone else, you got one more test tomorrow. So hopefully it won't be too bad. And then we can get on to regular days. And then, I don't know, we got like what, 20 something left. So not that bad. In bang. Hopefully, we had that good class discussion. We got to the climax. I mean, we're still kind of in the climax. The conflict hasn't quite ended yet. Like the shooters have to be stopped, have to be incapacitated, to use a big word there. And my allergies are awful. I slept like garbage last night, so hopefully, I will be able to read just fine. I think I will be able to. So we left off right here, right where the yellow is. I mean, the active shooter's still, right? And the gun is to that guy Ben's head. So there was a little bit of confusion with a couple classes just to make sure, like, there are kind of two new guys who have been introduced. You got the blonde guy, he's one of the shooters. Then you got the Ben guy, he's like a freshman, but he's the leader of this thing now. So, of the SGA, Straight Gay Alliance. All right, let's do it. In the yellow. Then the door bursts open. It hits the wall hard, the glass window shattering and sprinkling shards everywhere. The girl turns her head at the noise, and Ben, the new desperate leader, Ben, slams his fist into her gut, and she doubles over. Her gun goes off. That sucks. There have been a couple shots that have just kind of gone off. Who knows where those bullets have ended up? And just as Sawyer staggers over to grab the blonde guy's gun, I fling myself at the girl and start flailing my arms and legs, feeling like I've got no plan but nothing to lose. I kick the crap out of her arm that holds the gun. I whack the crap out of her face with my cast once, twice, three times until she drops. And I kneel on her blanking head as she screams. With ragged breath, I look up at the door, suspecting it was the police who shattered the window within it. But all I see is my brother's startled face, his body leaning against the wall. Oh, Trey, thank God, I shout. And then I watch him sink to the floor, leaving a streak of red on the wall behind him. I wish we could stop there. I mean, we've only literally been reading for like 3 minutes. So, but wow, that can't be good. It does seem like at least a bullet went through him, right? If you're leaving a streak of red on the wall behind you. All right, next. Excuse me. Next part here. 37. Trey, I scream again, but I can't let up on the girl. I move my free leg around and step hard on her arm, and she screams out in pain, screaming her hatred, calling me a sick blank, calling me an abomination, telling me I belong in hell, telling me God hates me. Ben comes running to kick the gun away from the girl. Finally, the police come. Top of the next column. It takes them a few minutes to sort out the good guys from the bad, especially with the girl screaming at us. As soon as they've got her, I crawl over a slippery floor to Trey, where another cop is trying to talk to him, telling him to stay awake, telling him help is on the way. Back off, the cop says, holding his arm out to push me back. Give him some room. He's my brother. I cry, my voice ragged, and the guy lets me near him again. Is he breathing? Blood splurts from somewhere around his shoulder. Yes. What's his name? Trey. Trey DeMarco. Okay. So at least it's not from his chest. So this is something that probably could be fixed if paramedics get there soon. And you can see, wow, I don't know why that went really big, but that's cool. And you can see they are getting there pretty soon. Within seconds, the paramedics are there, assessing all the injured, and I follow their gazes around the room, suddenly remembering Sawyer again in all of this. Two of the paramedics run to a girl who is lying against the back wall, eyes glazed, holding her side as blood spills from between her fingers, and I don't want to see that, but I can't look away. Okay, that does not sound good. On the other side of the room, The blonde shooter gets shoved to the floor and handcuffed, and the girl shooter still hollers hate speech as she's being held by two cops. And then there's Ben Galang. Ben Galang. Glasses knocked off, face bleeding. Ben Galang, who almost surely should be dead. Top of the next column. Reaching out and helping Sawyer to his feet. There's one more guy near the door who cries out, trying to scrape himself along the floor, his foot bleeding profusely. That's it. That's all. Everybody else made it out. So this is the part where we're probably going to be getting to what we call falling action. Okay, the conflict for the most part is over. I mean, there is a third book, so there might be some, we got the whole Rowan thing and stuff, but this part of the conflict is over. Now, I keep calling it, we got to put the pieces back together. All right, so they have to recover from this. I mean, obviously, it looks like there's a new conflict with Trey and him bleeding pretty badly, but you can assume that he is going to make it. I mean, there was in the first book a random guy that died, but probably Trey will make it, right? So it's just kind of putting all the pieces back together. Will there be a jail? I mean, there probably will be, but will we know what happens to the shooters, their kind of story? And the dad and stuff. Is she gonna go back to work? Things like that. We need to find that out. All right, this is in the blue here. I look at Sawyer as the paramedics take the girl with the stomach wound away first. Okay, that's a little troubling, stomach wounds. And then they load Trey onto a stretcher. Sawyer stares back at me. His face is stricken as mine. I turn to go to the paramedics. He's my brother. Can I go with you? The paramedics look at the cop, who nods. Just her. What hospital? I ask. Down the street to the UCER. Let's go. They hoist him up until the wheels click into place. I check to make sure Sawyer hears it, and he nods. And then, with tears in his eyes, he mouths, "I'm so sorry." So I wonder why he's saying sorry. He's probably like, I just didn't get there quickly enough. I didn't call 911 quickly enough, something like that. Later, after Trey has been wheeled into the ER, a doctor checks me over. He gets an intern to cut my blood-soaked cast off, and we decide there's no reason to put a new one on, top of the next column, since I was getting it off getting it off later in the week anyway. While I'm sitting there, the cop arrives to interview me and the others who have trickled in. I tell them what happened, my voice getting shaky all over again. We were sitting in chairs, I begin, and Ben was leading the meeting. The girl and the blonde guy got up and pulled guns out. My friend Sawyer and I both reacted. The shooters were right in front of us, so we saw them. The girl was yelling hate speech against the LGBT students. I dove for the girl's legs to knock her off her feet. The gun went off a bunch of times. I'm not sure how many. I saw that Sawyer had the other guy on the floor. I tell them how the girl got away from me and held the gun to Ben's head, and then how my brother burst in and broke the glass in the door, and how that distracted the girl, and Ben punched her and shot Trey instead. And when they ask me how I knew to react so quickly, I just look at them. I don't know, I say. The cops seem satisfied, and they're gone before my parents arrive. My parents. Yeah. So obviously that is a huge part of the story. And then maybe she's making the news. I don't know, hey, 2 times in a very short period of time, she's making sure disasters don't happen. That could be kind of interesting. How do you know this stuff is going to happen? Why are you in the wrong place at the right time all the time? So 5 things I don't want to talk about. 1, why the heck Trey and I were getting shot at when our little sister was missing. 2, why we were clear on the other side of the city when we were supposed to be grounded. That's a good question. 3, how on earth their good son could be with them 1 hour and shot in the arm the next. 4, why we want to give them so much grief, because first the crash and then Rowan and now this. 5, how that Ignati boy fits into this mess. Top of the next page. And all I can think of say in response is, at least I didn't wreck the balls. And they're not amused. But thankfully, they have a lot of other stuff on their minds. All right, and I don't know if this is going to come out in this book or not, but we also have the thing about the dad. Like, will the dad finally piece together? Okay, so you saw this one disaster with the snowplow. You saw this other shooting. Like, you must have. Like, how do you know these things are going to happen? So it might come out that he also has the vision, right? There are a lot of, like, the way he drives. It's like he has a vision. All right. After the docs get a good look at Trey and fix him up, they tell us that we were very lucky because the bullet passed through the muscle of his arm and didn't hit any bones and barely nicked an artery. And while there might be some nerve damage, he should regain full use after a few months. They're going to keep him here for a couple days. Once I get to see that Trey's all right, I wonder, top of the next column, where Sawyer is. I leave mom and dad in Trey's room and venture out to the waiting room. And there, either stupid or stoic. Hey, that's the second time we've seen that word or the form stoic. So think of like somebody just like really thinking pretty hard and probably some pain involved. Is the boy I love. The blood on his face is wiped clean and a couple of stitches on his forehead. Sitting next to him are two guys. One I don't recognize, and the other is leaning forward with his face in his hands. And I don't realize who he is until he looks up. It's Ben. Sawyer stands up fast when he sees me. He looks me all over. You okay? I nod. I have some bruises, a few cuts, but that's it. You? Fine. How's Trey? Trey's okay, I say. And it's clear by the look on Sawyer's face that he hadn't heard anything yet. Sorry, I thought they'd tell you. Now, all right, just because short class and probably that's enough reading for today. Yeah, 12 minutes. That's enough reading for today. So we probably have like another day or two. We might finish this on Friday. So remember, I won't be here tomorrow. My son has consultation, I guess, for the wisdom teeth, but it's down in Wyndham because nobody around here does it. It's right in the middle of the day. So I can't be here. Yeah, because he's like leaving for Connecticut in the fall. So we have a very short window to get those wisdom teeth out. All right. Hopefully you all have a good rest of the day.